Buried in a cave near the Dead Sea, archaeologists uncovered a mysterious scroll unlike any other. Not parchment, not leather, but copper, etched onto its brittle surface. A list of hidden treasures, over 60 of them. Gold, silver, sacred relics, worth billions today. But here's the twist, no one has ever found a single item. So what is the copper scroll? A real treasure map? Or a decoy left behind to protect something far greater? In 1952, deep within Cave 3 of the Qumran cliffs in Israel, a team of Bedouin and archaeologists stumbled upon something strange. Amid broken jars and ancient scrolls sat a pair of copper plates, oxidized green and corroded shut. These weren't just fragile, they were fused solid. It took years before experts could even open them without destroying the surface. Eventually, they were shipped to Manchester, England, where metallurgists carefully cut them into strips. What they revealed sent shockwaves through the academic world. Unlike the Dead Sea Scrolls nearby, which included religious texts, biblical manuscripts, and sectarian rules, this scroll didn't talk about God or law. It was a list. The copper scroll lists 64 different locations where staggering amounts of precious metals and artifacts were supposedly hidden. Descriptions include stairs, aqueducts, burial chambers, and even specific tree roots or water sources. Here's one example: greater than in the ruin that is in the valley of Acre, under the steps with a burial chamber, a copy of this document and 67 talents of silver. Another says, greater than in the tomb in the third courtyard, in the underground passage, 40 talents of silver. These are not vague myths, they read like a GPS-guided treasure map from 2,000 years ago. Altogether, scholars estimate the copper scroll describes treasures worth over 4,600 talents of gold and silver. That's more than $3 billion by today's standards. But what's more intriguing is when this scroll was created and by whom. Most Dead Sea Scrolls date to the 2nd century BCE through 1st century CE, during a time of intense Roman occupation, civil unrest, and religious upheaval in Judea. Could the treasure have belonged to the Second Temple in Jerusalem? Perhaps it was hidden by temple priests fleeing the Roman siege of 70 CE. Or maybe the scroll was written by a sectarian group, like the Essenes, who stashed their own treasures far from watchful Roman eyes. Part 4, Theories: Who wrote it? 6:30 to 9 o'clock. There are several major theories about who created the copper scroll. 1. The Temple Theory. Some scholars believe this treasure came from the Jewish temple in Jerusalem, hidden by priests as the Romans approached. The scroll may have served as an inventory to retrieve it later. 2. The Essene Theory. The sect that lived at Qumran, known for discipline and secrecy, could have buried communal or sacred wealth, preserving the scroll for their own initiates. 3. The Zealots Theory. Jewish rebels, fleeing from Roman retaliation, could have hidden looted wealth or temple offerings in the wilderness, with the copper scroll acting as a coded ledger. 4. The Hoax Theory. Some argue it's pure fiction, either a symbolic document or a religious allegory meant to test readers' faith or intelligence. Each theory has evidence and contradictions. Modern treasure hunters, both academic and amateur, have tried to crack the code. In the 1950s and 60s, several expeditions combed the Judean desert. One group even followed coordinates they believed matched the scroll, but found nothing. In the 1980s, Vendell Jones, an amateur archaeologist often linked to the Indiana Jones mythos, claimed he was close to discovering the scroll's treasure. He said he'd found spices, incense, and even ceremonial items. But critics dismissed his findings as misinterpretations. Israeli authorities have also restricted access to certain areas near Qumran, both for preservation and political reasons. So even if someone had the scroll's locations figured out, they couldn't easily dig. Still, cryptographers and linguists continue to analyze the scroll. Some say the document uses a coded form of Hebrew. Others believe it's written in a straightforward inventory style, which only raises more questions. Why hide the scroll so well if it was so direct? Another popular theory: the treasure is already gone. Many researchers believe the items listed may have been recovered centuries ago by early treasure hunters, either from the Roman Empire, the Byzantine era, or even Crusaders. If the scroll was discovered centuries earlier, quietly, its knowledge could have been lost while the loot was claimed and resold across the ancient world. There's also a chilling thought: what if there never was a treasure? The copper scroll may have served a spiritual or symbolic purpose, a hidden message not about gold, but about preserving knowledge or testing worthiness. The copper scroll has inspired countless novels, documentaries, conspiracy theories, and even movies. It's become a modern legend, somewhere between biblical truth and national mystery. In Israeli museums, replicas of the scroll sit behind glass, while tourists peer into the caves of Qumran wondering what might still lie beneath the sand. Meanwhile, scholars debate whether further excavation would damage priceless history or finally unlock an ancient enigma. Thousands of years ago, someone carefully etched 64 treasure locations into thin copper sheets. They sealed it in a cave. They didn't bury gold or silver with it. They buried knowledge. So now the question remains: was the copper scroll a literal map to immense wealth? Or was it always meant to remain unsolved, a whisper from the past to keep us searching? Subscribe to Unburied History for more ancient riddles, real mysteries, and lost